Hey guys, welcome to Doozer Shop. It's been a few months since my last video. Not sure why. Just life and work and a whole bunch of everything. So anyhow, sort of a random update video. I'm in the shop. It's like a Tuesday night. I bought a tire a long time ago for my Super Bronc two-wheeled dirt bike. Excuse me. Never got to putting it on, but it's sort of a hard size to find. So I bought one when I could find it. Atop the mighty K.R. Wilson, the most awesome hydraulic press. Awesome hydraulic press. So let me give you just a handheld tour. I'll update you on some stuff. So this is I forget, it's a 1963, I believe, J-head. I bought this in Buffalo, New York, from Voland Electric. They repair electric motors. I bought this thing, I want to say, 15 or 16 years ago, okay? And I'm going to show you pan down. Almost all the paint I stripped off of it, okay? So I moved to Charlotte probably 12 years ago, 13 years ago. And so it's got the pancake motor, the Fairbanks Morse pancake motor, painted it dark forest green, and I had taken the head apart up there in New York State when I lived up there, painted it dark forest green, took every single piece, gear, spindle, bearing, everything out of the head, painted it, cleaned everything, replaced what I needed to replace. The back of the ram I took apart, took the ram out, cleaned everything, painted it metallic silver, Rust-Oleum metallic. I think it's called Rust-Oleum aluminum paint. Kind of matched the aluminum belt housing, whatever. And then I used the needle scaler a couple days ago and scaled down all the paint. All the paint. You'll see I didn't do the knee, but everything else I did. So let me show you the Mitutoyo quill whatchamacallit readout, and if you know, does the old DRO thing. So I got a photo somewhere. I had this head, the green part, to drill this hole and that hole. I had it on the table of the Clausing 8520 mils. So that I did a while ago up in New York, and I made the brackets. It came, the Mitutoyo readout came with brackets, but they're just garbage. And so I made these aluminum ones, right? Made those. And I drilled and tapped these, I forget, it was 1032 or something. And they kind of locate with the notch in the head. And people are wondering, see, I should have my flashlight, but I don't. There's a plate of aluminum that bolts to the back, and then there's like a little, see that? Those two Allen head screws in there? That's the link from the actual reader head to the particles up and down attached to a quill. If I scooch around, you'll see the other part of that. It's like a piece of aluminum key stock. I think it's like 1/2 inch square. So that's how that thing works. And it's made right into, you know, notched into there. Sorry about the shadow. This was broken, and at the time, I didn't even know you could buy these, but this aluminum piece is new, and the ball plunger is new, and actually I made it a little bit longer. This one, I don't know, eyeball that's cast iron, right? Eyeball that one, and then this one's just a little bit longer, so because I made it, right? I did a pretty good job. I don't remember how exactly I made it. Sure, I used the lathe mostly in the mill somewhat. So you got regular J head. I like the pulley arrangement, not the variable, but excuse me, but the step. Brakes in great shape. The new plastic knob I made. It's got the drum type reversing switch. This was kind of broken. I had to go and repair it. I think this stud is the air cleaner off like a 460 Ford or something. Anyhow, kind of fun. I put new belts in this, the timing belt, the V belt, new bearings, pretty much everywhere. Yeah. Oh, one thing, knobs that are black usually operate a mechanical function, and knobs that are red typically operate an electrical function. Everybody kind of knows that, but they don't, you might not have heard it called out. So this thing is all back together, painted this black and little stuff. Got a new scale, right? They call this the educated nut. You know, you push it and you can do the quick up and down, the quick nut. I'm doing it one-handed. This whole head, after I rebuilt it, sat in the attic of my house. I lugged it up those rickety attic stairs, like that ladder thing, and this whole head, I rebuilt it and then I moved. So I moved the head separate off the Bridgeport. I used to call this the headless Bridgeport because it didn't have a head on it. The head was up in the house attic. I figured that would be dry and safe, so I finally married the head back to my machine here. Okay, so it got a little rusty. I was going to take it out and wire brush it and put it back in, but I said, you know what, I don't care. Don't care, it's fine. I went through, this table was filthy. It had a coating of rust, and in the T-slots were just gooky, nasty, rusty chips, dried oil or dried coolant. It was nasty. So I scraped it all out. I bought one of those T-slot tools to scrape out the T-slots. Probably a waste of money. It was only like, I don't know, 13 bucks, and I got 2 of them, and they're powder coated. And the one swiper fits the T-slot, and one fits the smaller one, whatever. Anyhow, it had some kind of janky handle, lock handle. I bought these from Supra machine tool. I should get a little shot of their advertisement. But you lock it down. Neat about these, you pull them out and you can position them, and they lock. You know, and you can, you know, because who knows where that thread ends up. So got a new one for there. This one was actually fine, but I got a new one for there. And hot tip, the threads are almost touching the shoulder, and I did the same thing there. There's a little spacer with a slash cut that, you know, 30-degree angle for the gib. Cut that spacer down, and I must have cut 3/8 of an inch off that spacer to get these, the threads back. I think it's half 13 thread. It used to be sticking out probably like that, right? And I cut the little rod behind this, and I get an extra well, 3 threads, about 3 threads more thread engagement. Because they were loose and a little bit wiggly. So that's a hot tip there. And I did the same thing. There's a long spacer rod that goes in. I mean, the gib is right there, right? So the spacer rod, this one's like 4 inch or something. But I end up taking about 3/8 off of this one too, or 5/16. Because like I said, this thing was about, I'm sorry for the poor light, you know, about like that. There you go. It was about like that. And like I said, I got about 2.5 more turns out of it. So that's a hot tip. Let me move along the side. I got the door still on the floor. I didn't put the door back in and whatever. Oh, let me kneel down. All right. There's the Doozer lubricator, right? This thing was filthy inside. You just painted black. I got all the paint cleaned off. So you push it down, and there's nothing in it. There's nothing in it now. On the upstroke, it meters the oil out. This thing is completely full of waxy, nasty gunge. And clean the window as best as I could. So I want to show you something. So it comes up to this cross junction. That oils the kneeway on this side, and the tubing that goes across, there's another elbow on the other side, oils that way. Now, this hose I replaced, okay? And let me get you, I tried it. Sorry for it looks like a grease hose, but it's not. There's the manifold. And that feeds the oil lines to the saddle, right? There's the table, and this is the back. On the newer Bridgeports, this is here. It's underneath here. On the old ones, it's up there. So anyhow, this hose is new. And it's, if you go on eBay, Supra machine tools, like, I think there's a Toyota Supra car, but it's not. But Supra machine tools has these hoses, and it screws right in. And so I'm going to tell you a hot tip. All these fittings, these Doozer lubricator metering fittings and all the associated things, they are 5/16 24 thread, and the tubing is 5/32 inch tubing. So that, like I said, the actual threads are 5/16 24 threads per inch. Now this hose, right? This is metric. You just say Doozer. What's up with that? So, boop, sorry. So that thread is 8mm by 1.0. 8mm diameter, 1.0 pitch on the threads. All these fittings are 5/16 24, but it's so close. It's within like 1,000th or 2. No, it's actually less than 1,000th. This hose fits. So if you go on Supra, on their eBay store, Supra machine tool, they got this hose. And this thing's like, I don't know, it's like I think it's 1,000 PSI rated or something silly. This thing only puts out, I don't know, maybe 100 or 2 tops. Who knows? Doozer? Either way. So that's a hot tip. Oh, goodness, let me stand up. Okay. So anyways, that's how that works. Like from there, loops around. And this is, I think, a 28-inch hose. The 24 I wanted, they're out of it. And I thought a 20 would be too short. But anyhow, I was going to make a cover for this out of a piece of angle iron for the, chips, so the chips don't conglomerate, and maybe a little clamp. Something. So I got this piece of, it's a piece of U-channel, and I had it rigged up there, clearance for the cap screws and whatever. But I don't think a U is the way to go. I think an L is the better way to go. Kind of had it like that, you know, inside. But I don't think I need the backer plate. I can fasten it on the front. So I might flip this around, or I don't know. I might not use it. I might do something different. But anyways, back on the Gordon. So this table, the glare is terrible from the shop fluorescence, but it's not too bad. It's got just a little bunch of pecker marks, and that's it. But man, I painted all this, and I'm just so happy with all this. And I got my little, you know, cable on there. Either way. So the ways on this, I mean, they're a little bit worn, but you can still see the frosting scallops, right? A little bit worn, but like I said, you can still see the scallops. Everything's clean. Man, I clean this thing like no tomorrow. This is about the worst. It's showing some of the striations there, and the scallops disappear a bit. Same over here. Scallops are getting light. This doesn't show up on camera very well at all. And I don't know how that got put on the units of the enemy, right? And you know, mask off your stuff, do a nice job. Mask it off, do a nice job. But this thing works in and out super well. I had the original factory wave wipers, the wave wiper covers, and then these I had from somewhere. High Quality Tools they make like aftermarket parts, and so I got both. And these, some have the felts just at the edge, and this one had the felts going across, and you could buy either one with the felts. I think I got the parts from Matico and you know, HQT. They're another, you know, seller of this stuff. High Quality Tools, HQT. What else? Just so you guys know, this is not on the web anywhere. This shaft, you know, goes all the way to the gear. This, you know, that mates to the hearth coupling, it mates to the handle, right? I didn't push it on all the way. This thing just press fits. It's a light press fit up to there. I shouldn't have that gap there. I could palm it on even more. I left it off. I don't know why, in case I had to get in there. But you can take the dial off, and there's 3 screws, and this whole shaft pulls out, and you can clean it. So get in there with a pry bar, 2 screwdrivers, or 2 lady slippers, or some kind of a decent pry bar, and pry this back, and it's keyed, and that'll come off. I leave the handle like this just so I don't be knocking myself. All right. So that's how that comes off. Pry this hub with the serrations on it, or the face spline, the hearth coupling. Pry that off. There's no set screws. I couldn't find this on YouTube anywhere really. I just had to figure it out. And then, like I said, this just, well, I tightened that tight. And there's 3 screws behind that, and it comes off. Take these 4 Allen head screws out, and this uncranks. You can retract that, pull the screw out, and then take this. Sometimes that's a pin that you got to unscrew with a screwdriver slot. Take that off, and the covers roll back, right? Move the table to the front, and then these will roll back, and you can get in there and clean the bevel gears for the table elevation. See, I did the High Quality Tools felt cover on the back too. These did not fit worth a darn. I had to put them in the press and take the twist out of them. They were just a little bit tweaked and bent, and I had to put them in the mill. And you can see actually I milled the top here to get it flat and clamped it in the vise and respot faced some of. It says High Quality Tools, but these particular castings are just, they're not good. Why didn't I use the Bridgeport parts that I had? Because they weren't the full width. I don't know. I should have. I still got them. And then these I had to slot the holes in them. Maybe you can see. I don't know. Maybe it's back there. I had to slot the 1/4-inch holes in there. These didn't fit worth. These are Bridgeport factory ones. That point that goes in the corner was too pointy, where it fits in that radius there on the dovetail, and it wouldn't allow this to fit tight clearance against anything. So, but I just took a 1/4-inch round file and I filed that slot in the direction. It was kind of diagonally at like 30 degrees to get it to line up, and then, like I said, I had to tweak that corner. But happy about my manifold. Like I said, later Bridgeports they put on the side. But, you know, hot tip on that hose. And this wrench, I bent this to work on my car before I had an offset wrench, you know, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to leave it that way. So that's just how it ended up. This handle, I stole this handle and I bought another one off eBay. This thing spins so nice, and yes, I got the Gibbs adjusted. The table gets tight just a scotch at the ends of the travel, and the knee gets a little tight very back, but it'll go all the way to the front without getting tight. So, you know, this is, it's worn, but not terribly. It's not terribly worn. You can see the back of my readout, the thingy thing, you know. So back to this handle. Yes, I took the handle off this. This is a new one. And if you remember, I needed a new crank handle for the planer, right? Holy Chick-fil-A. Okay. So yeah, I got it turned around, but that's the original handle. And I got it, you know, my narrow aisleways here, I just got it flipped back around so I don't, you know, knock it with my feet. And I had to narrow the hub. The actual hub, I had to mill, I forget which side or both, and made it narrower because, you know, the shaft is only so long. So that worked. Original Bridgeport timing belt. This crank handle, the Hearth coupling's not so great. I might buy a cheap $30 handle off eBay. I don't know. I bought these on eBay. I think I paid $13 for 2 of them. T-slot cleaners. Probably shouldn't have. This is the old. I had a spare from another Bridgeport rebuild, the felt cover. This is not from a Bridgeport, or maybe it was. I don't know. Spare, you know, from the Handy lathe. This was one of the lock handles. Screws. I bought a new skirt cover for the spindle because this one's too short, and these tabs were broken off, and I bent new ones and cut the rest of this down. So this is like an 1/8 of an inch or something shorter, but I decided to get a new one because I could. Spare spindle bearings, and there's the old. No, that's the new. I gotta put this on here. The protractor part, and the pins are broke off in the ram, but I'm just gonna put this on with contact cement or silicone or something. I don't need to fart around with them pins. These are the original ones, and they're in fine shape. I could put them back on. I don't know. They're just a little different. The high HQT ones were just a little bit easier to fit the felt in, but I don't know. Here's just a spare Y-axis gib. I don't know. So, not many spare parts. Screw from the Bridgeport. I have taken it out, and I have cleaned it in the parts washer. And I stood it up, and this line lock hose, you know, it really is awesome to have a parts washer. You know what I mean? And I got the nut soaking in there. I might get a new nut. It's got about a quarter turn of lash. Yeah, it's getting... Now these don't look bad. Now, this is the end, right? I gotta measure it. And the dead middle is there. And they don't look too much smaller. And here's the other end. So, not terrible for wear, but it was black. I mean, it was black, greasy, black, 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 black. Like somebody put black moly grease on it, like chassis grease. This was just dirty. And I'm not gonna take, well, I'll show you the half nut because. So there's the half. I say it's a half, not a half nut, but some of these come split. You can split them more and turn them into a zero backlash nut. You can kind of see they're getting sharp. The threads are getting thin. So let it soak. Man, I keep this little terry towel here for cleaning my hands with this. There's the Bridgeport, and it runs. The head runs, da 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 da. But the table, see what you do is you can pull the ends off the screw and wind it out and move the table and just leave it engaged by like 6 inches, right? And this table is just hanging off into the breeze, right? But it'll stay supported. I wouldn't go any more. See, that's the lock screw. Leave 6 inches and you're good. Don't pull it out any more than 6 inches. You'll frighten people. But anyways, so I've been cleaning the ways. They're not awful. This thing has some life left in it. They're not great, but they're not awful, okay? So, this has got a Bridgeport lubricator, and I pulled the nut out. The nut goes in there, right? You pull the screw out on the side, the right side, you pull the nut out, and I got it in the parts washer. So these ways, it's interesting, there's like a step. Ugh, grease. They look like this, right? That's how nasty they look before I clean them with lacquer thinner. And then you can see there's another 1-inch section in the back. I nudged the table. So I'm going to move the table back the other way and clean the rest of it. Now, all in there, I just cleaned out a ton of like needles of chips, like needle chips. They're all gross and just sharp and nasty. That's when you side mill. You get a lot of those little needly chips. But it's just black, like moly grease. Like, I don't know what what the service of this was. Actually, I do. It was an electric motor shop. Watch out for stuff like this with your oil lines, right? That looks kinked, right? Doesn't it? That looks awful dang tight. I wonder if they heated that up before they did it. And there's another one in there, and it looks awful tight as well. But that's how they do it from the factory. You know, whatever. But anyhow, so yeah, and I went down in here and I cleaned the gear, and I had this screw out. This is the Y screw. I had all this out. Man, I don't even know if you can see in there. There's a mouse living in here. You can see a little bit of the, like, it's cleaner than it was. I mean, this thing was just nasty, nasty, nasty. Freaking nasty. And there's a mouse
nest and nuts and acorns. But the ways don't look terrible. There's your gib for the knee, the adjuster screw. They're getting shiny, but still got the flaking. There's the manifold for the bead-jour, you know, goes there and there. There's a line. And only this little short line is too short, and it keeps it from... Yeah, I had to unhook it to lay this down. We need to kneel down. Oh my God. Getting old. Oh, with the air hose. So, yeah, this manifold goes up there. That little line goes on, and then the rest of these go up and go in through there. Now, that hole, you could fit one more lube line through that hole, right? And look at this thing. This thing comes through this hole, in there, and over there. There's no reason you couldn't cross over and go into there. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll just leave the darn thing. I don't know. But I'm cleaning it up. And lots of cleaning. I sound like a broken record. There's the extension hose. The bead-jour pump goes down there. And I took it off and cleaned it. This thing, look at the cracks in it. I think I need to get a new grease hose, lube hose, not a grease hose. And see the top, that silver, I cleaned all that down to bare metal and painted it with Rust-Oleum silver. Now everything else here is kind of factory paint and filler. I don't know if I should just clean the whole thing with lacquer thinner and leave it, or scrape off. I mean, chunks are coming off, right? And it's just kind of nasty. But show you real quick. You can kind of see. Yeah, that's just dust from sanding. This whole bottom underneath the knee, right? The whole bottom of the column, I cleaned down to the black filler because it was just painted over chips and everything, and I just used the Scotch-Brite wheel and a sanding disc, and I got back down, and I keep doing that there. There. So now these, it was just surface rust, and I think I Scotch-Brited the ways down here at the bottom. Don't use Scotch-Brite, Doozer. Use steel wool and oil. Well, you know, this thing's so freaking worn, it's not gonna matter. But that was just a nasty, gnarly, just freaking mess. So I got this nice and clean. This screw, I've been wiping it off with lacquer thinner. I still might go to town more with lacquer thinner. But anyhow, but yeah, the sides of this, man, they're just, the Bond, it's just coming. I cleaned everything, but the paint's coming off. Maybe I'll just wipe it with lacquer thinner, pull all these fittings, wipe them with lacquer thinner, and just... This is like a Donnie Walla Walla video explaining working on machines. But anyways, the Bridgeport head came out nice. The green looks good. For now, I'm not going to VFD it. I'm going to leave the reversing switch. And I got like a 13-foot cord. I have a power drawbar. I don't know if I'll use it or not. Maybe. But I think this is a 62 or 63 Bridgeport. You know. Only got the quill. The digital quill working. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, that's it, man. Been just working away, trying to get this thing cleaned up. You know, hardware and just whatever. And it's tight, man. I got so many darn machines crumpled up tight next to each other. But yeah, that's, if you guys that don't know, that's the way to clean out a Bridgeport table without just taking everything loose.
is slide it over, leave 6 inches hanging on. And like I said, you can access all the things you need to. Bridgeports are really great machines. I see why they made the industry. So you know they're so popular in the industry. But yeah, those Harbor Freight battery rechargeable flashlights are great. I gotta. If they want to sponsor me, that'd be great. Anyhow, enough rambling. I remember now. So it's on blocks because I can move it with a pallet jack. Let me kneel down here. So the knee lock handle, see that? Somebody knurled on the taper an aluminum bat handle. Now this was off of a machine fixture that was being thrown out, and I repurposed it for the lock handle. Okay, pretty cool. But I'm just so happy. I mean, it cranks so nice. So let's see the backlash. Let's see here. So there's 0. That's the backlash from vertical to. That's not bad. And I didn't change that nut. I did change the table nut, right? So, let me see here. So there. Ooh, that's good. Let me block this. All right, vertical. Right there. About the same. Now this had over a 1/4 turn of play. It's hard to do. That's about right. So yeah, new table nut for the main table, original table nut for here, and like I said, they both got hardly, you know, what is that, 10 thou, whatever. Anyhow, it's got some holes. It's got 2 holes. I think that's for a lamp. And there's a hole there, probably for a digital readout spar, scale, whatever you call it, and one down there, probably for the scale. I have a digital readout for it. I've got the same Mitutoyo readout box. I got the same one. Actually, I got 2 of them. One's going to go on this, and one's going to go on the maybe the Gorton. I don't know. I guess I could start it. I have to turn my phase converter on. Whatever. So a buddy of mine gave me a collet rack. I just screwed it to the wall. So that works. I'm going to share it with the Gorton because it takes the same collets. I don't know. Not too much to say other than I'm happy that my Bridgeport is together. It survived moving from Buffalo to Charlotte, and the head was off it, and I moved it. It was filthy and dirty. I mean, and look, the floor was, you know, I cleaned all the paint and everything. You can see my floor gets, you know, stuff dripped on it, whatever. But it doesn't matter. It's a shop. All right, it's getting a little long. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you that brochure from Supra, where you can get the hoses. Here you go, Supra machine tool. And like I said, there's their line card, and they got everything from soup to nuts to peanut butter fluff, I assume, right? And just oh yeah, these people too. This is where I got some of the parts. Matico? No affiliation, just a satisfied customer, right? And this is the back side, all the different brands, whatever. But yeah, Supra, I guess, sells Acers, right? The Acer group, Supra machine tool. There she is. Well, you can't see it right there. Have a good evening. This is Doozer Shop.